Most men grow up in a world that constantly tells them to look for shortcuts, hacks, tricks, clever lines. They want fast results and instant validation. It's a symptom of a deeper problem. We've been trained to chase outcomes instead of building foundations. But when it comes to relationships, especially with women, there are no shortcuts. There's no secret phrase, no perfect text, no cologne that can replace the work of becoming a man who is grounded in his identity. The truth is, women don't fall for lines, they fall for presence. Presence doesn't come from trying to impress her. It comes from mastering yourself. That's where the 1,000 times rule begins. It's not about faking confidence or pretending to be something you're not. It's about internal discipline, emotional training, and relentless self-awareness. It's about building a masculine core. So solid that no woman's silence, mood, or test can shake it. And that process doesn't happen overnight. It happens through repetition. Through sitting with discomfort instead of reacting to it. It's through resisting the urge to reach out when you feel anxious. Through training your nervous system to remain calm when everything inside you wants to chase. Every ignored impulse, every moment of restraint, every time you choose control over reaction, that's a rep. That's how you become rare. And that rarity is magnetic. It draws women not because you're chasing them, but because you've become the kind of man who doesn't need to chase. In a world of overexposed, emotionally volatile men, your silence, your restraint, your presence becomes a force. And that force, once cultivated, doesn't just change how women see you, it changes how you see yourself. You stop measuring your worth by her attention. You start leading your life. That's where the real attraction begins. Emotional control is not something you're born with, it's something you build. And in a world that glorifies instant reaction and rewards emotional outbursts, learning to control your impulses is an act of rebellion. The 1,000 times rule is rooted in that rebellion. It teaches you that your first instinct, especially when triggered by a woman's silence, attitude, or withdrawal, is rarely the right one. The urge to chase, to explain, to fix it's not strength. It's desperation wearing a mask. And most men don't even realize they're doing it. They think they're being romantic, honest, or emotionally available. But to a woman, it reads as instability, as a man who's not in control of himself. That's the difference. It's not about ignoring her to manipulate. It's about mastering yourself so deeply that her emotional chaos no longer dictates your inner world. And the only way to build that mastery is through reps repeating the right response until it becomes automatic. The first few times you resist the urge to double text, it'll burn. Your mind will race with stories. She's losing interest. I need to do something. I'll lose her if I don't act. ... But if you hold the line, something powerful happens. You survive. You realize that discomfort doesn't kill. It strengthens you. That silence isn't rejection. It's space. And in that space, you grow. Every rep trains your nervous system to stay still under pressure. Every act of self-restraint tells your subconscious, we don't need her, to feel whole. And slowly you stop reacting. You start choosing. You start leading. That's what she feels. That's what she respects. Not the man who begs for her attention, but the man who can hold his frame regardless of hers. That's the man she chases, because he doesn't need to be chased. Most men fail because they confuse knowledge with transformation. They read a quote, watch a video, hear advice like don't chase or hold your frame, and they agree with it. Intellectually, they understand. But when the real test shows up, a delayed reply, a cold tone, a passive-aggressive story, everything they know crumbles. Their logic fades and emotions take over. They spiral, react, chase, over-explain. Why? Because the nervous system wasn't trained. Because knowledge without repetition is just noise. The 1,000 times rule bridges that gap between what you know and what you are. It's the difference between talking about strength and becoming unshakable. Every woman you interact with becomes part of your training. Every uncomfortable moment is an opportunity to rep your response. You don't get emotionally bulletproof by reading quotes. You earn it, one ignored impulse at a time. The first time you stay silent when she pulls away, it'll sting. The second time, it'll still sting. But maybe the 10th time, you feel your composure kick in automatically. And by the 100th, you're calm not because you're forcing it, but because you've lived it enough times to own it. You've rewired your emotional default. Now, when she tests you, you don't panic. When she's distant, you don't chase. When she tries to provoke you, you don't flinch. You've seen the pattern. You've practiced the stillness. You've trained the muscle of self-control, and now it holds without effort. That's the real difference between men who constantly lose ground in relationships and those who remain magnetic. It's not charm. It's not luck. It's training. It's quiet, consistent, private reps that build inner power. When you stop reacting, you stop being predictable. And when you stop being predictable, you start becoming unforgettable. The man who practices the 1,000 times rule is playing a different game. While most guys are chasing validation, craving a text back, or obsessing over her next move, he's sitting in silence, mastering himself. Every moment she tests him becomes an invitation, not to react, but to rise. And here's the shift. It stops being about her. The cold messages, the flirtation with other men, the games, they don't shake him because he's not measuring his worth through her behavior anymore. He's measuring it through his response. That's the superpower most men never develop. They're still stuck on her, what she meant, what she's doing, what she might say next. But the man who's trained his emotional response is flipped. The script. Now, every test is about discipline. Every test is a mirror. He doesn't ask, why is she doing this? He asks, how grounded can I stay right now? That kind of focus builds presence. That kind of stillness builds gravity. Women feel it instantly even if they can't name it. They'll say things like, you're different, or you feel safe. What they're really saying is, I can't shake your center. And that's the rarest kind of attraction. Not excitement, not chemistry, but emotional certainty. The kind that doesn't waver under pressure. The kind that says, I'm good whether you stay or go. That energy rewires how a woman sees you. Because in a world full of men who chase, a man who doesn't react becomes magnetic, not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. He's rehearsed this moment. He's failed it before. He's felt the sting, sat with it, and chosen to stay still. That's why he doesn't flinch now. That's why she can't ignore him. A woman never forgets the man who doesn't flinch. Not because he played games or withheld affection, but because his emotional stillness stood out in a world of frantic reactions. That memory lingers, the man who walked away calmly when she pushed, didn't beg when she withdrew, who didn't chase when she tested. It haunts her, not out of pain, but out of respect. Because deep down, she knows she met something rare. Not someone who gave her everything she wanted, but someone who offered what she truly needed. Direction, presence, unwavering energy. And that only comes from discipline. From practicing the pause. From holding your frame 1,000 times. See, the mistake most men make is believing that being chosen is the goal. It's not. Being solid, being self-led, being grounded, that's the goal. That's the foundation that makes you unshakable. When you live the 1,000 times rule, you're not moved by compliments or cold shoulders. You're not seduced by praise or destroyed by distance. You've rehearsed your piece. You've trained for tension. You've learned to stay still when most men scramble. And that commit speaks louder than words. It's the thing she remembers long after the messages fade and the drama dies. Not the date, not the flirtation, but the way you stayed centered while she spun. That's the new standard. It's not being perfect, but being consistent. It's not reacting to her, but responding from your values. And the more you do that, the more powerful. Your presence becomes not because you tried harder, but because you needed less. You became the man who doesn't bend under pressure, the man who leads even in silence. And once she sees that, once she feels that, she'll chase the very stillness. That once drove her crazy.